Welcome to the Sunbird Sports Show with Paul Meadors. Brought to you by Fresno Pacific University on 790 ESPN.
All right, welcome to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN. Thank you guys for listening tonight. I am your host, Paul Meadors, live here at the ESPN Fresno studio on Palm Avenue across from Bullard High School. It's been a minute. It's been a while since we've had the Sunbird Sports Show. I missed it. Let's be honest, man. I have a lot of fun doing the show, talking Fresno Pacific University athletics. Wednesday fell on, Christmas was on a Wednesday this year. And then sure enough, New Year's Day was on a Wednesday. So we weren't going to do a show on those two. And the last two Wednesdays, I've had the privilege to call basketball games with Scott Bemis, who is the play-by-play guy for Fresno Pacific University basketball. So that was a lot of fun. I tell you what, Division II basketball is no joke. Just watching the warm-ups and watching the games up close, you're like, man, these guys can play basketball. So that was a ton of fun. Hope you guys were able to listen to that. Last Wednesday, I have to mention this. This is in my notes, my recap notes as well. But last Wednesday, there was a special night at the Special Events Center at Fresno Pacific University. Fresno Pacific men played Chaminade, who came in at 12-4 at the time, was in second place in league. CJ Haydock was tied, the head coach, was tied for the most wins in Fresno Pacific University men's basketball history. And let's be honest, they were underdogs in that game. Chaminade came in averaging 88 points. Fresno Pacific was only giving up 71 points in that game. And I tell you what, Fresno Pacific absolutely put on a clinic in that game. They shot an incredible 30 of 46 from the field. 30 of 46, yes. Unbelievable. 10 of 16 from three-point land, 22 of 29 from the free throw line. They turned the ball over, which is wild, 31 times. How do you win a basketball game, right? 92 to 83 or 93 to 82, I don't remember. But how do you turn a basketball over 31 times and win the basketball game? Because they shot lights out. Local hero Jonah Garone from San Joaquin Memorial was on fire, scored 30 points in that one. But again, hats off to CJ Haydock. There was a huge ceremony after the game. The players didn't even know. It was a great scene at Fresno Pacific University at the Special Events Center. All the players were jumping on him. Of course, they gave him, a water shower in the locker room. We're going to get Coach Haydock on the show here in a couple weeks, and we'll recap that. But what a great guy. What a wonderful coach. He's, cares just as much about players off the court than on the court. So just a great event. I was very blessed and thankful to be a small part of it. Got some news and notes. So there were a lot of action from Fresno Pacific University over the last couple of weeks. We have a lot of things to catch up on. Men's and women's hoop, they've been in action a ton. Some of the highlights for the women include a 78-62 victory over Concordia and a 74-70 overtime win against Chaminade in a game that the Sunbirds trailed by 22 points, and that game came back to get a win in memorable fashion. In their most recent game, they knocked off Academy of Art 59-46. Kerman High's Bree Hurt and Central High's Jayla Green currently leading the team in scoring. I mentioned that great game against Chaminade for Fresno Pacific University. A couple highlights for the men's. A close victory over Concordia 77-72 and Dominican 89-86. And I mentioned that score was against Chaminade 92-83. So I think I was right the first time. Memorial's High, Jonah Garone, who I mentioned, had that career high 30 points. And CJ Haydock passed Jim Sargent for the record that stood since 1998. Elsewhere, track and field season is underway. Sunbirds completed in the silver and blue invitational at the University of Nevada in Reno. Brianna Green currently leads the nation in the 200 meters. And Nieda Chance has the sixth best mark currently in the 60-meter sprint. Buchanan High's Bo Olson, I remember that kid, won the 1,000-meter and placed second in the 600-meter. Senior Adrian Hodges of Bakersfield won the triple jump with a career best leap and defeated the reigning PacWest Conference champion in the process. Swim team was away against UC Santa Cruz and Cal State East Bay and home against the Masters University over the past few weeks. Some notable performances include a pair of victories for senior Jackson Calloway in the 500 and 1,000-yard freestyle. Wins in the 50, 200 backstroke, and 400-yard medley relay for junior Charlotte Wilbers. A 50-yard freestyle win for Visalia's Jillian Lambert. And sophomore Rasmus Hansen winning both the 200 and 100-yard freestyle. All right, so what's going on for the rest of the show? Can you guys believe it? Baseball is in the air. A lot of talk about basketball, right? Basketball is the premier sport in the winter, but baseball is here, and we got Fresno Pacific University head coach Oscar Hirschkorn. We got some Fresno Pacific baseball players as well. Connor Semone, Tim Ruiz, and Jordan Smith are going to join us. They have an exhibition tomorrow at their new renovated stadium. I can't wait for you guys to hear about all the cool things that are happening at Fresno Pacific University and that stadium. It is a massive, massive facelift and one of the most beautiful baseball fields you'll ever see. All right, coming up after the break, we're going to hear from Coach Hirschkorn and the guys later on 790 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN.
All right, welcome back to the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN. Pure Fresno Pacific University talk for, all the way up to close to 7 o'clock here at the studios, home of ESPN Radio, 1430 and 790 ESPN. We got baseball in the house right now. Oscar Hirschkorn, Fresno Pacific University head coach since 2006, the one and only coach. 18 seasons, led the program to a record of 470, 396, and that one tie. Ties in baseball, they just don't sit well with me. That might be a conversation for later. 7 regional postseason appearances, 3 World Series appearances, and back-to-back World Series championships in 2014 and 15. What's up, Oscar, man? So good to see you and catch up with you. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, great. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on. This is exciting, real exciting to start a new baseball season. This is what we put in all the hard work for, so can't wait.
We're going to get into the baseball season and all the upgrades to the stadium in just a second. But off air, we're talking a little bit about your twins, the oldest members of your family. I know you have a youngest son, Jensen, who's playing basketball in a little bit, so hopefully you can be able to make it to that game. So Houston and Holden, how has it been for you and your wife, though, with those two gone? Does the house just feel empty when you come home sometimes? It's like, what's going on? Where are they?
It does a little bit, but at the same time, it's gratifying to see them. It was time. It was time for them. They were ready for the challenge to go out and do this. That baseball has meant so much to them for so long, and it was time for that next challenge. And it's their first fall, and they moved away. So there's a lot of change for them, for us at home, and it is. To answer your question, very different with them gone, and just having the one child at home now. So although they're all good-sized boys, so it's kind of weird to call them children. Child.
Well, I do have to mention that Jensen is 6'7", and he's only a junior in high school. That kid seems like he grew 3 inches after every baseball season, it seemed like. All right, let's talk Fresno Pacific University baseball. It's January. The weather's still cold in the morning, but the afternoons it's turned pretty nice. What excites you most, Oscar, about this time of the year in regards to baseball?
It's the fresh start. It's the new season. You've put in, us as a coaching staff, we've put in months and months and sometimes years with constructing this new team, and then you go through the fall and you get all the kids admitted in their classes, all that process. Strength and conditioning, the fall, the hours, the limited hours portion, then the expanded hours. In that 45-day window, you hope and pray that they've stayed in shape and everything during that Christmas break, and you can only do so much to check in on them, and then you show back up, and so it's the culmination of all the work and the phone calls, the text messages, the time, and then now you get to put it to the test, and it's exciting. It's fresh. It's a new start, a new team, and it's all in front of you. So,
and the the start to the baseball season, right? You don't think of baseball necessarily in January, but it's here. You have an exhibition tomorrow against San Francisco State, but the excitement is probably enhanced because of the new renovations at the baseball field. So a few things have been explained to me, and I've seen a few pictures as well. So, man, what does the new stadium look like at Fresno Pacific University?
I mean, for us, this is a complete change, and we have a new stadium. There's a roof over every seat. I can't remember exactly the capacity. I want to say it's right around 800 seats. So it's not huge, but there's not a bad seat in the house. To truly appreciate this, you'd have to understand that we've only had wooden bleachers for 19 seasons. Now this is year 20. So the 20th season, here comes a stadium out of nowhere. It's just a true blessing. And then we also have a new locker room that's been built. We haven't yet been able to move in, so it's like it's tangible though. It's right there in front of us. I think we're within a couple weeks of it being completed. It looks completed, but we've got to get it signed off and all the things. But yeah, so our guys will have a space where they can, we can have the team bonding stuff. They can connect even more as a team. The showers, the laundry, all that stuff. We didn't have any of that stuff before, and it's just completely different. And then public restrooms and concession and merchandise sales in a separate building as you walk in through the new gate.
Oh, okay. So the lockers and all where they dress is going to be much closer to the stadium than it was. How
behind
far?
The dugout.
Unbelievable.
Right behind the dugout.
So where do they have to walk from in
Before?
the past? Yeah, before.
Truthfully?
Yes.
The parking lot. I mean, our guys changed in the dugout in the parking lot for 19 years. So actually 17. We didn't even have the field for the first 2 years. So our program has literally started from scratch. First 2 years didn't have the field. Third year of the program, which was the 2008 season, we had the field on campus. Now the field has been beautiful from day one. Our field is amazing. It's gorgeous. It plays great. We just didn't have the amenities, and now we do. Now we do, and it's amazing. I can't wait for people to see it. I can't wait for our players to experience it. Last year during construction, it was a very strange place to play because it was all open. And then now there's a stadium, but the roof, I can't wait to find out like what happens with the sound, because even at our practices, if one person, it echoes. I mean, there's a totally different noise dynamic, and it's exciting. It's cool. The kids I call them kids. The players can feel it. And there's just a ton of excitement around our team and the program.
What's the stadium called now?
Dan Martin Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he a big donor, benefiter,
Well, it's a great story. He, his daughter runs his foundation, and he unfortunately had passed away. But right before he passed away, he had given his life to the Lord. And he was a true baseball fan. And so fast forward a few years, his daughter Terry was at, I don't remember the details of where this conversation took place, but for our Fresno Pacific people were there. And the question was asked, well, what's the next project at Fresno Pacific? And Kathy Herm, she's beautiful. She's an angel. And she said the baseball project, and Terry's face lit up, and she was interested in that, and that because of her dad and that being her favorite sport, or his favorite sport. And one thing led to another, and they gave us this huge donation, and this would not have happened without them and her father's story. And it's just when I say a blessing, I mean it is a blessing that this happened.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when people pour into Fresno Pacific University, they're pouring into the student athletes, right? And
Yes.
we've talked to numerous athletes here on the Sunbird Sports Show, and their experience at the school, I hear nothing but positive things, and there's a reason why. And for now, your baseball players are going to be hearing from in just a second. For them to be able to experience this transition year, that's got to be a big lift for the entire program.
Oh, it's amazing. And then to your point, though, I'm so proud of this team, but it's not just because of their baseball ability. And you'll see you're going to meet three of them, but our team is filled with gentlemen like these three that we're going to talk to here on air. They're amazing men, and it's their value to this world isn't just what they do on the field, although there's great value there. They're great players, but they're going to go win in life. And Fresno Pacific is a part of that, and I'm proud.
And you got a season coming up really, really quick, right? And you have an exhibition tomorrow against San Francisco State, and Saturday, I believe, as well. So give us a little kind of snapshot season preview of this year's team. Like, what are your strengths going to be? You got a pretty deep pitching staff, and you're able to field the baseball well, or hit for power, hit for speed, or have a speed game. Like, what's this team made of?
Yeah, it's funny. I think in all these years as a coach and certainly as a college coach, you're taught to sandbag, and you always regret when you don't. But I will say I think we're really good. I really do. I think we're really good. We have a good mix of veteran players. We've got youth. Our defense is night and day improved. I think we're going to be one of the top defensive teams, in certainly in the West. Our pitching staff is not just talented, but we're deep, and we can hit, and we're athletic. So I think we're going to be able to run. I think we're going to be a pretty complete team. Now, injuries are always a danger, but we do have depth. Not the same depth at every position, but we have starting pitching. We have short relievers, we have long relievers, and we have options. Like I said, we have youth, we have veterans. We have a really good catching core, but Jordan Smith is one of the young men that's going to be on air. Jordan, I've never seen anything like it. He has one error in 2 years. Can you believe that?
I can't.
One error in 2 years.
You'd think a catcher would throw the ball over a third baseman's head.
Yeah,
right?
something, right?
Yeah.
And he had one error last year. 2 years ago, or 2 seasons ago, 0 errors, won the Gold Glove in our conference, and he throws out somewhere around 70% of the runners. It's just unheard of. And it's a funny thing, actually, because our shortstop is TJ Smith. Now, he is a transfer from Hawaii Pacific. And I've known him and his dad for a long time. He ended up at Hawaii Pacific out of Sac State. And for 3 years, he's been their shortstop. Now, when Jordan Smith, our catcher, won the Gold Glove, he beat out TJ Smith, and so they have a friendly banter back and forth, because if you've ever seen the fields at Hawaii, now they're really tough, and TJ that year had single-digit errors on those Hawaiian fields. That, Paul,
what are you talking, turf or
amazing.
What? Bad hops? Why does it play bad? Rough.
It's really rough. It's
okay.
Grass and dirt, and they're rough fields, and there's weather concerns and all the things, and TJ had, I want to say it was 4 or 5 errors on the year, which is an amazing season anyways, but you factor in the fields that he was playing on, and wow. So we have those two guys on our defense, and I can go on, and I'm more than willing for sure, but our infield is really good.
So you guys can pick it.
Yeah, we really can.
So teaching the contact maybe a little bit and get some ground balls, right? Get some ground ball outs. I'm curious, right? We talked about the renovations and the fan experience is going to be enhanced at Fresno Pacific University. But how does your ballpark play, right? Like how deep is it? Like center field to the lines, and like do you try to recruit speedy outfielders to get the balls? Like,
yeah,
what's that?
No,
look
it's a
like
great question, because in our Our field is true. So it's 390 to center, 385 to the gaps, 325 down the left field line, 320 down the right field line. So that actually is one of the larger parks in our conference, believe it or not. I mean, when I read those dimensions, it sounds normal, right? Point Loma and Azusa Pacific have very small parks. I mean, when I say small, I mean it's 320 to 318 to the right center gap, small. Okay.
So you think, oh, there's a fly ball to right field. Yeah, wait, that just sailed over.
My pitcher just popped that guy up, and the kid's trotting around the bases, kind of a thing. However, I do so in recruiting. They like Azusa definitely tends to recruit a certain style, larger bodies, definitely guys that can pop it up, type of a thing. I'm not knocking their play. They have really good players, but a lot of times their park creates a great player too. Ours, I always tell our guys, we need to be athletic. We need to be able to score from first on a ball in the gap. And if we have a lineup full of guys that can do that, we can win anywhere, because you go to the small parks, we can pop it up with the best of them too and get our 3-run homers that way. But we have to have a team full of guys, a lineup that can win at home as well. And I think when we put together those clubs with this, to me, like this year, the right combination, I think we have a chance to make a run at it, because we can win anywhere in any condition. How
huge is pitching depth, right? So we're seeing obviously a transition in Major League Baseball with pitchers maybe only going, 3 innings, 4 innings, and then relievers coming in and, pumping 97, 98, and then another guy, right? Like in your league, PacWest, and maybe some of your non-league games, like what's your pitching philosophy now? Are you trying to get your guys into the 7th, your starters, or what's philosophy?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Division I, Division II, one of the biggest differences in the levels is that we both are going to play 4 games a week. Division I, single game Tuesday, single Friday, single Saturday, single Sunday. Division II, we're playing double headers Friday and Saturday. So our pitching depth dictates our season, because you're playing back-to-back double headers. You're talking about a 9 and a 7 and a 9 and a 7 in less than 48 hours. So we have to have 4 starters, at least 1 closer, preferably 2. And then, you have to have middle relief and then consistency. So that's another reason why I'm so excited about this year, because to make a run historically, you have to have at least, of the 4 starters in your rotation, you have to have 3 that could be a number 1 somewhere else, right? So if you have 3 number 1s, you're gonna be at first, second, third. You're in a regional, and you have a chance to make a run. And I think we have a chance to have 4 this year of those types of guys. And again, one of the things that's most exciting, and I tell our pitchers, if you want to start for us in a 9-inning game, you've got to get us at least 6. You got to finish 6 with consistency. Otherwise, not sure that you're a starter. So 3 times through the order is the magic kind of marker there. And everybody does that a little bit differently. Some guys, that's typically, you'll tell pitchers, hey, you need 3, if not 4 pitches to do that. But there are guys with an outlier pitch. There are guys that can do it with 2, but that 1 or 2 of those pitches need to be an outlier. So a cutter with depth, like one of our guys that's going to start, he's not here today, but his name is Josiah O'Bannon. And he's 89 to 93, somewhere in there, but he's throwing a cutter at 87. And it's a cutter. And that you can't really prepare for, at least at our level. Maybe in the SEC or the really good mid-majors, you're seeing some of that stuff. But here, with the depth, it's a unique pitch. Connor Semone, he'll be here. He has he's a fastball, slider, changeup guy, but his changeup it's just funky. You can sit that pitch, and you're going to have a really hard time squaring it up, even when you know it's coming. Tim Ruiz is here. He's got a really good cutter. He's low to mid 80s with that thing. So, And it's just the depth that it has makes it unique versus maybe the radar gun. Maybe there are other really good pitchers with that velocity on that pitch, but there's something about the way he does it that makes it different.
Absolutely. We got about another minute here, then we're going to bring on some of those players you were talking about here with Oscar Hirschkorn, head baseball coach at Fresno Pacific University. Hey, I could talk baseball with you all day, man. We need a 3-hour show to talk about this stuff. 4 miles difference between a cutter and a fastball is huge in any league. All right, I have to ask you tomorrow, right? Exhibition with San Francisco State. What are you hoping to see tomorrow and then Saturday as well from these guys?
Yeah, it's interesting. Coaches and I met off and on all week long talking about this very thing, where as much as we want this to feel like a 4-game series, it's our last chance to find some things out about certain guys and their roles. So we're going to try to make it a little bit more scripted than we would normally do. But we want it to feel like a game, and we want to push. We want this to be about trying to win these games, because then you see where it's a little bit of a test. I've never been able to do this since we've moved to Division II, get a scrimmage type thing, a series just prior to the start of the year with another team. So this is a great advantage. Very appreciative of Tony Schifano, the San Francisco State coach, for working this out with me, and he saw the benefit, and this we're going to get a lot out of this.
Well, believe it or not, yes, baseball is here, Fresno Pacific tomorrow, an exhibition game in San Francisco State. It's not open to the public, right?
It is now. Well, last I heard, it is, but the stadium's not open to the public. So the games are open to the public, but we have some bleachers down the line. If I understood your question properly, the stadium is not open to the public yet.
Got it. I think hopefully, fingers crossed, right?
Fingers crossed.
Maybe next week that will happen. All right, Oscar, great talking with you, catching up with you. We're going to bring some players on in just a second. We'll take a break. We're going to hear more from the Fresno Pacific University baseball program on 790 ESPN.
And now, the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN.
Baseball season is here. Ready or not, here it comes tomorrow. Fresno Pacific University has an exhibition against San Francisco State. Just had a really good conversation with Oscar Hirschkorn, the one and only coach. And I think I ripped you off a season. I think the bio hasn't been updated, but this is your 20th year, right? Year number 20. All right, this is a huge mark for Coach Hirschkorn. All right, now we're going to talk to a few of the players. We got Connor Semone from Oakdale, Tim Ruiz from Delano, actually graduated from Centennial High School in Bakersfield, and Jordan Smith from So a couple local guys here play for Fresno Pacific, and all seniors, right?
Yes.
And they're all seniors?
Yes, sir.
Connor and Tim are pitchers, and Jordan is a catcher extraordinaire. So I read some incredible stats we'll get to in just a second. But first of all, guys, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so each of you guys have a story, right? Each of you guys have a story how you arrived at Fresno Pacific, obviously from different parts throughout the Central Valley. Connor, we'll start with you. Like, what was your road to Fresno Pacific, and how did Coach Hirschkorn and his staff get you here?
So my story was kind of unique. I was at a couple different schools, bouncing around junior college, went to another D1, went back to my other junior college, and was kind of just talking with schools, and it seemed like Fresno Pacific was just going to be the fit for me. And after talking with all the coaches and everything, I just knew that it was going to be the fit. I was really excited to get down here, and it was just a click right away, to be honest.
How was it a click right away? You just like
just
click
the
with the guys?
Yeah, just
the
like connections
scene?
right away with the coaches. Honestly, it just felt like a brotherhood. It felt like it was the place for me, and it just felt like that was where they really wanted me. So it just felt like a good place.
All right, so Jordan, you're telling me off air a bit. You came to the Central Valley, came to Fresno area for your eighth grade year.
Yep.
So what, like, junior high did you go to? Obviously, you're a Memorial guy through and through, but just talk about your journey, to Fresno Pacific.
So I went to San Joaquin Memorial, graduated class of 2019. Started off at Reedley College, stayed there for 3 years, and then my recruiting process began. Wasn't a big recruited guy, found out the best situation for me was to come to Fresno Pacific, and it gave me an opportunity to stay with family and just thrive on the baseball field and earn a degree.
All right, and you're a graduate student, right?
Yes.
So you got your degree already.
Yes, I am
right?
in the credential program right now.
All right, I can't wait to talk about future teacher, right?
Yep.
Future teacher. All right, Tim, what about your journey to Fresno Pacific?
Yeah, my journey was it was an interesting one. The recruitment process for me was really sporadic. I was in and out of talking to different schools all through the fall. Then it kind of simmered out towards the end of the season, and I got blessed enough to get a call from Tim Culver, actually, who said he really liked my name. But not too long after that, we got out to a visit. I got to get walked around by Coach Hirschkorn, and it was my parents and I. And, we just loved it. From the jump, we were on our way back home to Bakersfield, and in that car ride, I was just like, oh, yeah, this is the place. Like, I had another trip lined up that I told Hirsch about, but in that moment, I was like, yeah, this is the place where I want to be. Like, I just loved everything that FPU had to offer. I love everything that Hirschkorn was saying. The campus was beautiful. It was nice and close enough to home where I can go back and forth as I pleased. Yeah, it was a good fit.
Perfect fit, right?
Yeah, perfect fit.
All right, so let's talk a little baseball stuff. We'll get into what you guys are majoring and all that stuff in just a second. All right, so you guys are pitchers, and you guys throw to this guy right here.
Yeah.
Like, what is it like throwing to your catcher here? How easy is it?
Yeah, I'll go first. It's awesome, A big emphasis of the pitching game is to limit the run game, but when you have a guy like Jordan Smith behind you, there's not too much of a stress with that. As long as your leg times are moderate, this guy's going to put it right on the bag, and he's going to stop that game just in himself. And then he knows the game in and out, steals a lot of pitches for you. It's a good guy.
Yeah, how's his framing skills? Decent?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
I'd say so.
On point?
Yeah.
On point. Have you perfected, the new way to frame a baseball is taking it from the outside and putting it in the middle, or are you just kind of easing it on the corner?
No,
What's your technique?
I'm an old school
All right,
catcher.
I like it.
I'm never one knee down unless no runners on, less than 2 strikes. Some people call it old school. I just call it catching.
Absolutely. Good man. All right. I love that answer. All right. So, Connor, what's it like for you throwing to this guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely awesome. He's a workhorse back there. He's going to get everything done, and he's not going to complain. And he's just like a wall thrown back there. Nothing's getting by him. It's awesome.
All right. So, that crazy stat that I teased a bit, and Oscar, I think you shorted Jordan a little bit. You said 70%, so I think it's 77. You threw out 17 of 22 runners last season. Defensive Player of the Year and all that stuff. So, first of all, what do these other teams not have scouting reports, right? Do they not know not to run at them? But Jordan, I just want to ask you, what is your mentality behind the plate? Framing-wise, position-wise, you talked about that, but I'm talking, let's ask more about, your throwing skills. What's your mentality throwing the baseball?
Throwing the baseball, to me, it's just playing catch, and I see a guy get on first, and I like shutting the running game down. It's, to me, the best feeling in baseball, and as long as I put it on the bag and do my part, then I know my other teammates are going to do theirs.
What's the best throw you've ever made? Is there something that stands out, a runner that you threw out, or maybe something that you had maybe it was a high and inside pitch and you were able to get to it and throw a guy out?
I would probably say not necessarily one guy that I threw out, but my first year at Fresno Pacific against Holy Names, threw out, I think, 6 guys in one game, 5, something ridiculous, and they just kept doing it. So I kept throwing the ball down there and walking back to the dugout.
And your pitchers, they gotta love that, right? These guys talked about how they love throwing to you, but is there when you're catching, let's say you're throwing down, a curveball or slider, what are you thinking in that moment? If there's a runner on, I got to block this, or, if it's a fastball, right, you got to think it's not going to be in the dirt. But what's your mentality behind blocking pitches?
Blocking pitches, to me, is all mentality. If you think you're going to get the job done, you'll get it done 9 out of 10 times, and that one time you don't, just hope there's not a guy on third.
All right, so my pitcher guys, Connor and Tim, like, what are you guys most looking forward to this season? Coach Hirschkorn was talking about the stadium renovations and how cool that's going to look, and you talk about the depth of your pitching staff. But, like, personally, Connor, what are you looking forward to most?
Honestly, I'm really looking forward to throwing in front of a stadium, which is kind of obvious. You know, we've all been talking about that, but I think that's probably what I'm most excited for. Just throwing with like a crowd back there and just a brand new environment, and it's just going to be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Do you know your role yet? Has Coach Hirschkorn and his staff talked to you about your role or not?
Yeah, so we're gonna be starting pitcher for this week. We have scrimmage games coming up. I'm gonna be starting one of those games, and then pretty much just going from there, just helping the team any way I can.
Awesome. What's your favorite pitch to throw?
Change up.
How do you grip it?
Grip it kind of like a split change right off the two seam, and I just kind of run my two fingers, my middle fingers, just right off the ball, and just let it run right off my ring finger.
Does it? You're right-handed, right?
Yes, sir.
Does it dip down to righties?
Yeah, it just kind of falls off the table.
Love it. All right, Connor or Jordan, sorry. What are you looking forward to most this baseball season?
I'm just looking forward to getting after it with these guys. I know the team's excited. Even with the exhibition, it doesn't matter. It's the game we're playing right now, so it's the only one that matters.
All right, Tim, what about you?
Yeah, same deal. Just as Connor said, that stadium is going to be awesome. The environment's going to be up. It's going to be heightened. Hopefully we get some big crowds in there, so that's going to raise the intensity level a lot. I'm just excited to get out there and compete.
I think you guys will. All right, I got to ask you, though, when you look at the schedule, I mean, you guys have all played PacWest baseball, right? So when you look at the schedule, is there like a series that, like, man, I can't wait to match up against those guys? Is there a specific team or weekend you guys are looking forward to most?
Point Loma for sure.
Point Loma.
Are they the top dog? Is that who we're chasing?
They have been the last couple of years. They've done a good job, and they've had a veteran team, and they've won a lot. But yeah, that's who we need to take down.
So help me out with schedule wise. So Coach Hirschkorn, you mentioned that double headers, right? So is that how league is played? So the 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday?
Unless we can get the way the schedule is for the PacWest, you're playing doubleheader, and the only way it varies is if both schools agree to spread that out over 3 days. If it's spread out over 3 days, it'll be a single game on Thursday, usually at night. Like if we're hosting, it'll be a night game.
Okay.
And then doubleheader Friday. For us, it'll be a 2 o'clock first pitch, and then on Saturday a noon first pitch, one game. So we're always hoping we can get partners because we'll go play all the games and we expect to dominate, but back-to-back doubleheaders is a chore. And so whenever we can get a school to agree to spread it out over 3 days, that's what we do.
Okay. Tim, I didn't get to ask you your favorite pitch, did I?
Oh,
What's
my
your favorite pitch to throw?
Cutter. I developed it last year, and it actually worked out pretty well for me.
And you're right-handed, right?
Right-handed,
So how do you grip your cutter?
I just grip it a seam up from my four seam, and it's mainly about the pressure point on the inside of my middle finger and kind of just releasing that like a fastball, throwing it hard, If you throw it hard, good things happen most of the time.
All right, try to hit the outside part of the plate right there, or a little bit farther than outside,
Yep.
Make it look like a fastball. I want to ask you guys about schooling, right? So Connor, or Jordan, you mentioned how you're a graduate student, you're going to be a teacher. That is awesome. I'm a teacher too. But Connor, what are you studying right now? Maybe some of your favorite classes at Fresno Pacific.
I'm studying business administration right now, and I'm actually finishing up my last 3 classes, and then I'm hopefully getting my degree as long as I pass these 3 classes. And my favorite class I'd probably say is marketing. I just for some reason just found a passion for that, and I've found that really interesting and something maybe I want to pursue. I'm not really sure yet, but I'd say marketing for sure, my favorite class right now.
In the sports world or just marketing
Just
anywhere?
marketing in general, honestly. I just find it really fascinating and interesting how those things kind of work, and it's something new for me to learn, and I like that.
Awesome. So Jordan, first talk to me about when did you want to become a teacher? Was that always like a goal of yours? Like, hey, I want to teach and coach, or when did you decide you want to go into the education field?
No, it wasn't. I started college at Reedley as a Kines major. Then I switched to a business major, And then I took an accounting class, and I learned this is not for me. Didn't want to be in an office all day long.
Too many numbers.
Too many numbers. Then most of my family is worked in education somehow, some way. And I started volunteering at my mom's school, mentoring a couple kids, and that's what really got me interested and wanted to help future kids.
High school, junior high, elementary?
High school.
High school kids. Are you going to coach? Is that?
That's the
yeah,
plan.
there it is. All right. That looks really good on a resume, right? Bring guys in to interview for a teaching job. You're like, hey, I can coach. Boom. Hired. We've seen that a lot, huh, Coach? All right, Tim. So what about you? Favorite class, major, and all that good stuff?
My major is kinesiology with focus in exercise science. I want to be a strength and conditioning coach. My favorite class, I think I'm split between two. I had an exercise physiology class with Dr. DeBall last 2 semesters ago, and that was a really interesting course. And then just last semester, I had a Christian leadership course with Dr. Dixon, and that was also a very interesting one, very applicable to just life, and especially life on the baseball field.
All right, we got some questions in just a second. I got one more question for these guys. I got to know, right? I mean, baseball is my favorite sport. I'm not shy about that. I love basketball. I love football. I'm a basketball junkie, but baseball is my number one. So I got to know who your guys' favorite Major League Baseball player is, right? All right.
I'm obviously a pitcher, so I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom. I mean, you just got to love him when he throws.
Except for the Tommy John surgeries. Come
Well,
on.
minus that. But when he's healthy and when he's throwing, he is phenomenal to watch, and it's amazing.
All right, we're rooting for him this year. All right, hopefully he can get maybe 140 innings. Jacob deGrom, good choice. All right, Jordan, how about you?
It's got to be Yadier Molina. I've kind of tried to model my game after him, and just his mentality behind the dish has helped me out along the way.
A decent hitter. He could run into one every once in a while. I hope you don't put that sticky stuff on your chest protector like Molina's been caught. Have you?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Okay, we'll get that. All right, Tim, what about you? Who's your favorite player?
I think I'd go with Max Scherzer. Same thing. I'm a pitcher, and I just really appreciate the mentality and aggressiveness he takes to the mound.
He's a bulldog for
Yeah,
sure, man.
most definitely.
He doesn't back down. All right, so Paulo, we got some questions for these guys. So Fresno Pacific University students and maybe some professors. I don't know. They got some questions for the boys.
Yes, we do, Paul. So happy to be back here with you. It's been a while since we were on the show, but as you said, it's always so exciting. So I'm going to start out. The questions come actually from the men's tennis team. We share a season, and it's time to get the field and the courts active and going, and we're so excited for our season and for yours guys. So we're going to start asking Tim. This question comes from Ravi Nelson. Why is it so important for baseball players to spend so much time in the weight room?
Oh, I think the weight room is extremely important, and especially in season. We spend all our time, building our bodies up to perform to the best that we can, and that starts in the weight room. We got to build the foundation. You can't just go from the top. You got to build from the bottom up, and I think there should be a big emphasis on that for just body care, not only body care, but also overall performance in season.
It is clear that the care is there because you guys are in there all the time. I have not been to the gym once where there's not at least 1 or 2 baseball guys. The next question is to Jordan from Martin Ramirez. Who do you think are the leaders on the team, and how do they lead?
We got a lot of great leaders on this team. It starts with our pitchers, comes down to the catchers, outfielders, infielders. We all kind of play our part. Understand that this is all about the team, and just try our best to push one another and get to the same goal.
That sounds like a humble response from one of the leaders, but I'm sure you guys are all trying to do what's best for the team, and that's great. And Connor, this question comes from Brody Sodersten. What is your favorite team to face when on the mound, and where is your favorite place to throw across the conference?
Well, now with our new stadium, I mean, it's gonna have to be FPU for sure. Definitely favorite place to play, and favorite team to play against. Gotta go Point Loma again. I mean, we want that competition. We want to beat those good teams, and we want that type of environment in our new stadium. So, I mean, that's definitely the new place to play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that matchup. So you guys can take them down. And lastly, Coach Hirschkorn, this question comes from myself, actually. What do you think will be the key values and approach to the season in order to be successful?
The key values, I
An
think
approach.
consistency. We have to. We've had a great year so far. We've stayed together as a team, and I think I know these guys were here last year, and you can't help but make a comparison. All the returners talk about the improvements in a lot of areas, but certainly are us as a team, and I think the focus on the team I think is important. And then the consistency that we hold to it. There's, a baseball season, it's 50 games. There's ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And as long as we stay with the process and we're consistent with it, we're going to have a great season.
That's awesome, Coach. We're looking forward to it. And with that, it goes back to you, Paul.
All right. It was a lot of fun getting to know these guys and talk about Fresno Pacific University baseball. Again, tomorrow, an exhibition, Saturday exhibition, and then they're getting going, Friday of the next week for a real baseball game at Fresno Pacific. All right, we got to wrap things up here. We're going to talk to these baseball players as the season gets along. Thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate it. This has been the Sunbird Sports Show on 790 ESPN.